In 40K, there exists the Chaos Lord, the incredibly powerful and tyrannical warrior king that took his genetically enhanced transhuman physique to the next level by accepting the powers of the warp. Regardless of their allegiance to the Chaos Gods, these Chaos Warlords are dangerous and depraved in the worst way possible. And with that said, I want to welcome you guys back to another 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about Chaos Lords. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day, so if you guys have any suggestions or any questions about the universe, just ask down in the comment section below. I'll try to answer it there, or I'll create a video for you guys. And today's going to be a special video because the very first Chaos Lord we're going to talk about, I'm going to try to make him into a model. So I'm going to kit bash my own Chaos Lord. If you guys enjoy this type of content, consider hitting the like button, sharing this with your friends, and commenting down below. And thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with all of that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Chaos Lords. The bestial and destructive nature of the Space Wolves chapter has always been a risk for these loyalist Space Marines. While they channel their aggression towards the enemies of mankind, the powers of the warp are naturally drawn to these savage angels of death. Specifically the Chaos God Khorne, whose thirst for the most powerful warriors that recklessly spill blood is never quenched. Eventually the God of War was drawn to the Wolf Lord Zvein Vulfbad. This brutal and cunning warrior was already faltering in his allegiance to the Imperium. Vulfbad had become disillusioned with the soul-sucking bureaucracy and the stagnant culture of the Imperium of Man. And so when the Blood God tempted him with glory and power, the Wolf Lord accepted whatever demonic contract the Chaos God gave him, and he eventually corrupted his entire company. The Renegade Wolf Lord became one of the few Space Wolf traders to reach the title of a Chaos Lord and leader of the Blood Wolves, a Chaos Space Marine warband. The Renegades terrorized the Imperium until the late 41st millennium, when Wolf Lord Harold Deathwood and his great company were tasked by the Great Wolf Logan Grimnar to hunt down and destroy the entire traitor warband. Deathwolf and his company eventually located the traitor in the Clyde system, tracking their elusive quarry to the storm-wrecked moon of Galamis. Deathwolf rode his ferocious Thunderwolf through the planet's Ferrite dust storms at the head of a small strike force of Wolf Scouts. The visibility was so bad that Deathwolf had to track his quarry purely by scent, but he later claimed that the stink of sweat and treachery was so strong it was like child's play to follow. After a solar week of stalking their prey, the hunting party cornered the Blood Wolves atop a dust-crowned mountain, just as the traitor was completing a sorceress summoning ritual that would have formed a demonic warband of unimaginable size. The Chaos Lord fought like a madman, even after many of his heretical Astartes had been slain. Using his demonic frost axe, he badly wounded Harold's Thunderwolf, but he was ultimately outmatched. As Harold brought his axe around to deliver the death blow, a bolt of lightning hit them both. When the dust settled, all that remained was the frost axe. The traitors were gone. Having failed to kill off the Blood Wolves, the Death Wolf and his company returned home. Blessed is the mind too small for doubt. Now that we know the lore to this Space Wolf Chaos Lord, let's try to kit bash him. Now there are rules online, or like a blueprint online, that shows you how to kit bash this specific Chaos Lord, but I want to make him my own. So I'm going to go into my pile of shame, where I remember having a Terminator Space Wolf sprue, and I'm going to try to create or kit bash with some Khorne bits and try to make my own Chaos Lord. I will say that even though I have a lot of unfinished projects, I do organize my pile of shame pretty well. All my sprues are kept in here. All I have to do is remove the model airplanes that I was supposed to turn into Orc Flyers, and the Space Wolf Terminators are conveniently at the top. I've been taking out some bits from these, but for the most part, all 5 Terminators are still there. All I need is one, so I'm going to cut that guy out. And this is what I decided to cut out. The core of the model will obviously be a Space Wolf Terminator, so the legs and the torso, but the first conversion is the head. I will be using the head of a Khornate Berserker. I chose the most basic shoulder pads just in case I want to add extra bits to them, and then for one of the arms I will attach this Khorne Power Fist thing from the Age of Sigmar Khornate Berserker set, and to replace the Frost Axe in the other hand, I will use this massive Khorne Glaive, also from the AOS kit. I was actually really surprised that the head fit so well to the torso of the Terminator. I thought I was going to have to do a lot of cutting and conversion, but no, it came out pretty awesome. Unfortunately, when it came to the Power Fist hand, it didn't come out all that great. The first thing I had to do was cut the Chaos bit from the Chaos arm and then attach it to the back of the Terminator Power Fist. As you can see, I accidentally cut part of the fist off, the Chaos bit, but at the end of the day, I just glued it on, and I'm just going to call it battle damage because, I'm running out of time. For the giant custom axe, it was a really simple conversion. All I had to do was cut the frost axe off, and then using green stuff, I would just attach it to the handle. And finally, I assembled the entire thing. Now, as you guys can see, the model doesn't look that bad. You can comment down below, let me know what you guys think. The thing that I don't like about any of these Terminators is that the models usually were angled down. So it's almost as if the Terminator was looking down as he was charging forward. I could fix that once I base him, but that would be for another video. The other thing is that if I put this guy on the tabletop next to like a Primaris Marine, the Primaris Marine is going to make this guy look like a dwarf, which I don't like. But that's just something that you have to deal with old Marines. And here you have the Renegade Wolf Lord Vulfbad, my very own kit-bashed version of him. Now, I'm not going to paint him because I put green stuff on him, and the green stuff isn't dry yet, so I have to let that dry. And by the time that's done, I'm not going to have time to paint it. I'll probably do it sometime next week, so this guy is going to go into my other pile of shame, along with my Ethereal and the Exalted Champion that I built last week. I'll put a link up above to those videos if you guys want to go check them out. I still have to paint those minis, and I will, but that's going to be for a video in the future. Now, I hope this inspires you guys to kitbash your own Chaos Lord. But in the meantime, let's listen to some more lore of different Chaos Lords. Devram Gorda served within the vaunted Sons of Horus Legion under the command of War Master Horus, the greatest Primarch and most beloved son of the Emperor of Mankind during the Great Crusade. When the War Master fell to the corrupting influence of the Chaos Gods and began the terrible galactic civil war known as the Horus Heresy, Devram Gorda willingly followed his Primarch into damnation. By the opening days of the conflict, Gorda served as a veteran sergeant of the 13th Company. He was present on the Legion's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, when they were attacked by the Imperium's assassins, sent by the Emperor to eliminate the command structure of the traitors and kill Horus Lupercal. Along with the first chaplain Erebus, Gorda slew the assassin Tobeld, one of the 8 different assassins from all of the 6 prime clades of what would become the Officio Sicinorum, and the one that got closest to its target. The assassination attempt happened early on in the heresy, as word filtered throughout the galaxy of Horus's galactic uprising. Numerous imperial worlds began to erupt into anarchy as the population split over whether they should remain loyal to the Emperor or join the cause of the War Master. Dagonet was one such world, where Horus Lupercal was second only to the Emperor and being celebrated by the people of the planet. Statues in Horus's honor were raised everywhere, and the Dagoneti spoke of him as the Liberator. When the Sons of Horus teleported onto the planet's surface, the tallest of the superhuman warriors, his battle gear decked with more finery than any other, stepped forward. He was covered with honored chains and combat laurels, and about his shoulder he wore a metal dolman made from the ores mined from the depths of Chthoniya. It was the mantle of the War Master, forged by Horus's captains as a symbol of his might and unbreakable will. He drew a gold-cased bolt pistol, raising it up high above his head, and then he fired a single shot into the air, the round crashing like thunder. It was the same sound that rang about the planet on the day they were liberated. Before the empty shell casing could strike the marble at his feet, the crowd was shouting with fealty, "Glory to Horus." The towering warrior holstered his gun and unsealed his helmet, drawing it up so that the world might see his face. This was the moment of truth. The Vindicare assassin placed his crosshair at the center of the scrolling grill of War Master Horus's helmet. There was no hesitation, no margin for error. The assassin fired his Exodus rifle. The shot struck the target in the throat, reducing the flesh to atoms, superheating the fluids into steam, boiling skin, and vaporizing bone. The only sound was the fall of the headless corpse as it crashed to the ground, blood jetting across the white marble and the War Master's shining mantle. Horus was dead. But the assassins of the execution force had been duped. Horus had sent a surrogate, a sacrificial proxy. The Vindicare had killed the captain of the Sons of Horus 13th Company. Though the warrior that was shot wore the mantle of the War Master, the unique robe belonging to the Primarch himself, it had all been a ruse. In their anger, Devram, Gorda, and the rest of the Sons of Horus turned upon the populace of Daggernet and began to slaughter them. It was a terrible tragedy that showcased Gorda's brutality towards humanity. Following the events of the Horus Heresy, Gorda continued his meteoric rise to the ranks of the newly renamed Black Legion. He became primarily known for the atrocity he committed upon the world of Sorora, where it is said that he distilled the bodily essence of the planet's largest hive city for a single vial of elixir. The properties of this elixir were unknown, but for a period of time after its ingestion, Gorda became, to all intents and purposes, invulnerable. This action earned him the favor of the Chaos God Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure. As a servant of Slaanesh, he went on to conquer the entire star system and ruled it with an iron fist, distilling yet more elixirs from the bodies of each planet's population, until finally he was stopped by the warriors believed to have been rival Chaos Space Marines drawn from the warbands of the Emperor's children. Many years later, with the rise of Horus's former First Captain Abaddon as his self-proclaimed heir and War Master of the Black Legion, the forces of Chaos began launching Black Crusades from the forsaken depths of the Eye of Terror. When these Black Crusades spill from the warp, the worlds of the Imperium quake in fear. More so than any other servant of Chaos, Abaddon has brought death and destruction to mankind time and time again. 13 times in 10,000 standard years, marching to war at the head of a crusade, tens of thousands strong. At his side are his lieutenants, the chosen of Abaddon, and nowhere in the galaxy can a more feared and merciless collection of tyrants be found. They bear an assortment of titles reflecting their role in the Black Crusade or honoring particular acts of cruelty for which they are infamous. Their numbers are ever-changing, for Abaddon has little tolerance for failure amongst those who serve him. Devram Gorda rose to one of these esteemed positions and became the current Lord Ravager, who leads the invasion fleets of the Black Crusades. Gorda also led the personal retinue of the Despoiler, known as the Chosen of Abaddon. In the closing days of the 13th Black Crusade, Devram Gorda, who had journeyed to the center of the Eye of Terror, and presented Abaddon with the Heart of Chaos, a powerful artifact that Zerafistan, the Tzeentchian Chaos Sorcerer, and the rival Chaos Lord of the Despoiler, had long claimed could not exist. The Imperium doesn't fully know what exactly the Heart of Chaos is, or how Abaddon intends to use it, but after the destruction of Cadia, Gorda and his warband have continued to spread destruction and chaos throughout the galaxy, thanks to the Great Rift that tore the Imperium in two. Before he was Cranon the Relentless, the Chaos Lord was a loyalist Astartes named Sevastus Cranon. Cranon's superb military mind elevated him to the position of Chapter Master of the Crimson Saber Space Marine Chapter. Under his command, the chapter won great accolades, crushing whole worlds in the name of the Emperor. However, his brutal manner earned the Crimson Sabers a dark reputation in the bordered Imperium. His savagery would lead to the eventual excommunication of the Crimson Sabers, and it all began on the jungle world of Umidia, where the chapter conducted a genocide purge of the Balthu cults. Subsequent interrogation of the captured Crimson Sabers revealed that the Chaos cult of the planet were in the process of summoning a demon of Khorne, and in their rush of judgment, the Crimson Sabers purged the entire planet of life, men, women, and children. As an act of revenge or possibly reward for the bloody annihilation of his followers, Khorne cursed the Crimson Sabers to be haunted by the voices of all those that they had just slain. The entire chapter was literally haunted by the butchery of their action. Poltergeist activity surrounded the Crimson Sabers wherever they went, and it became known as the mysterious Balthu. Whenever a Space Marine closed his eyes, he would see the faces of those he had killed, and hear their screams in his mind. Sleep became impossible, and slowly at first, a pall of paranoid insanity spread throughout the chapter like a disease. This led the Crimson Sabers to being declared renegades by the Inquisition and the High Lords of Terra, due to the signs of continued psychological instability that the Astartes of the chapter displayed, and to add to that, their continued overzealous persecutions of their campaigns. In an attempt to burn away the harrowing memories and the fires of war, Chapter Master Cranon declared the neighboring world of Demetra tainted by the proximity of Umidia, and the killing began anew. The desperate plan worked, for the specters of Balthu were drowned out by the series of gore-drenched battles. Subsequent bloodshed could silence the voices, but only for a short time. Cranon then led his warriors into the Eye of Terror to slaughter traitors instead of spilling the blood of Imperial innocents, thereby gaining a temporary respite. Self-exiled into the Eye of Terror, the Crimson Sabers were blessed with many gifts by the ruinous powers to further their combat prowess. They were finally fully corrupted by Chaos and remade themselves as the warband of the Chaos Space Marines called the Crimson Slaughter. Sevastus Cranon was reborn as the Chaos Lord and Champion of Khorne named Cranon the Relentless. Here he learned of the mysterious chaotic artifact known as the Hellfire Stone, an altar dedicated to Khorne that could forever free his Astartes from the curse and silence the voices in their head once and for all. It was said that once this artifact was anointed with the blood of a space marine, the Hellfire Stone would open a doorway into the warp and allow a powerful demon to pass through into real space. Joining forces with warbands drawn from the traitor legions during the 13th Black Crusade, Cranon and the Crimson Slaughter began their rampage across multiple Imperial worlds in a relentless search for the Hellfire Stone. Carving a bloody swath across a dozen or more populated worlds that dotted the southern rim of the galaxy, the Crimson Slaughter overwhelmed Imperial garrisons and slaughtered whole populations before vanishing back into the warp. Although their rebellion against the Imperium had been well documented, if subsequently suppressed by the order of the Inquisition, the remote nature of the planets they attacked meant that by the time the distress call was answered, the Crimson Slaughter had long departed. This remained true until the Crimson Slaughter made the mistake of engaging the Dark Angels' 5th Company in a battle upon the world of Stern's remembrance, slaying many battle brothers, including the 5th Company's master. Such an act of violence earned the undying wrath of the Dark Angels and the newly ascended 5th Company master, Balthazar, who swore to hunt down those responsible for his predecessor's death and bring their heads back to the Rock, the spaceborne fortress monastery of the Dark Angels. The 5th Company was also accompanied in their task by members of the Dark Angels' elite 1st Company, the Death Wing, members of the 2nd Company, the Raven Wing, and a powerful librarian named Turmail, who had been trained by Ezekiel, the chief librarians of the Dark Angels. Eventually, Cranon the Relentless finally found the Hellfire Stone on the world of Bane's Landing. Unfortunately, he was confronted by the Dark Angels' 5th Company. Cranon intended to use the Hellfire Stone to summon forth his demonic masters and usher in a new age of darkness. During the battle that followed, he claimed the lives of several Dark Angels and took the Raven Wing Sergeant Arion prisoner for use in rituals. However, Arion's suicide thwarted his plan and he was forced to retreat. Luckily, Balthazar did manage to corner Cranon, and a great battle was fought between the two, but the Chaos Lord was able to teleport away. The Hellfire Stone disappeared from the planet and would not reappear for another 40 years. Following this battle, Cranon would suspect that he and his chapter were being used by an unknown power. This power turned out to be one of Tzeentch's Lord of Change, who had been possessing the body of the former chief librarian Manon. Cranon would pursue Manon deep into the Eye of Terror to a world called Maimadrax. There he would cut the demon's arm off before it retreated yet again. Still being pursued by the Dark Angels, Librarian Turmail would predict that over the course of the next 3 years, Cranon would join forces with much more powerful Chaos Lords and would be cornered on a moon in Tau space. The vision predicted that a combined effort of the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves would lead to a third battle between Balthazar and Cranon. Cranon would eventually meet his end and his head would be decapitated, taken back to the battle barge Angel of Retribution by Balthazar in an iron box. And yet it is unknown if this vision is true. The last we knew of Cranon was during the Daimor campaign and during the attack on Cadia during the 13th Black Crusade. And those were 40 facts on some Chaos Lords. Like I said during the video, I'm going to be painting this Chaos Lord and the rest of the stuff that I've kit bashed throughout the week next week. So subscribe to the channel to get that if you haven't done so already. And if you guys have suggestions for other topics of 40K, whether it's lore or actually hobby videos, just let me know what it is in the comment section below. I'm going to be building some terrain pieces pretty soon too, so expect that. Again, I appreciate you guys listening, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, what a beautiful